Okay, this is John Barton from JB Cases. We are today going to test this cue inside of a GTF case. Now, as I roll this cue, you can see no light beneath the handle area all the way through here. No light at all, the way this cue rolls. So it appears to roll fairly straight. Now, I know that the cue is not straight because I can press one end and I can move it up a little bit on here, but through the center here it appears to be fairly straight with no light at all and absolutely from here to here in contact with the table. Okay, so this is the cue we're going to use to test against. Now let's pull it up here and show you a little bit. I want to show you what the finish looks like on it. This is an El Cheapo Chinese cue, what they use for house cues. They deliver them with the tables here. Alright, now you'll notice that the finish is intact all through the center. So what we're going to do is put this cue in the case, and we are going to put this cue in a GTF case. This GTF case, by the way, right here. We're going to put it in this GTF case, and we're going to apply 900 degrees of heat to it until it's obviously melting and deforming the case, and we're going to see if it harms the cue. Alright, now yesterday I did another video which I'll probably put up where I did the other side and I actually deformed the case, and it's still actually got a soft spot here which tells me that it really melted the interior inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the other side. Okay, we're going to do the back side here where it's got the seam. I'm not even sure what will happen. Maybe it'll split the seam or what, but let's go ahead and burn it up or heat it up and see what happens. Okay, now this video is in response to a guy on AZ named Joe Van Buren, AZ Billiards, that's a forum, posting a picture of a Fellini case that had unfortunately been caught in a fire, and he used that as an excuse to make disparaging remarks about me. You know, just basically to say that I'm a jerk, you know, and that the old Fellini is just as good as anything new. And you know, he was essentially trying to say that I'm knocking the old Fellini and saying it's not any good because the case allows the cues to rattle a little bit and would allow the cue to fall out of the case if inverted. Whereas I've never said that. I have never said that old Fellinis are no good. As a matter of fact, I've said many times that as far as I'm concerned, they were the best in class for the time that they were made, and that they're still very good. All I've ever said about GTF is that I have made what I feel are improvements on this style of case. And anyway, I'm just kind of that kind of a person that I have to see now if our case can withstand heat as much as the Fellini could. Now, having said that, the premise here is that the Fellini case was in a car. The car was parked over some leaves. The leaves caught on fire. The car burned up. The case was rescued, but the whole case was not destroyed. Only a part of the case in the center was the leather peeled back and the plastic melted, but the plastic was not melted all the way through. So it tells me that the fire they were able to put the fire out before the case itself was compromised, and the cue inside, which was a balabushka, a genuine balabushka, came out unscathed. So the idea here is that we're going to do this with a cheap cue that is straight. The finish is okay. So if this case will protect a cheap cue, then it should protect an expensive cue as well. So for the test here, I've got an industrial heat gun This puts out 1500 watts, and it basically translates to 930 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature. So it's basically a very dangerous blow dryer. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get to it. The Q is inside. So let's make sure the Q is inside. I'm going to set it right here. Turn this on. And let that warm up a little bit. You can hear it going. Let's move the camera around. Okay, now what we're going to do here I've got a piece of plastic that I melted yesterday, and you can see how it bubbled inside. Now I'm going to do it to the other side, but today what I'm going to do is I'm going to time it. If I've got now we're going to time it with the phone. Now let's go to the timer, go to the stopwatch. Now let's start the stopwatch at 0. Okay, we're going to start the stopwatch at 0. And we're going to see how long it takes to melt this piece of plastic, okay? So, start. See how long it takes this heat gun to melt this piece of plastic. I'll bring this back in, okay, so you can see it, but anyway. We'll assume that once it's melting this plastic, it's pretty hot. So it looks like I'm about 28 seconds here. I can already see the plastic melting, deforming. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see how long it takes to get through the plastic. This is poisonous. I'm probably poisoning myself here. Joe Van Buren, I'm sure you'll be happy if I catch cancer doing this experiment. Alright, we're at a minute. We're really deforming it here. I have to say the wind is blowing inside the window here, so it's probably cooling it off a little bit as it's going. Oh, here we go. Now it's charring. Now it's really charred up here, and we're at a minute and 38. Okay, so 900 degrees. I think that's good enough. Less than 2 minutes right there. This is what it looks like. Wow, it's nasty. This is what it looks like. Now I can notice that I can hold the tube over here, but I'm not about to touch it on the other side. See what that looks like after 2 minutes? At 900 degrees. All right, let's do this on the case. Okay, so we're going to do this right about in the center of the case right here, okay? I'll get over on this side. Let's reset the clock. Start. Okay, let's go. We're going right in the center of the case where the seam. See, we already split the seam, which is good. This is what I wanted. So it took less than 16 seconds and the seam is already split. Now you'll notice that we went 2 minutes before and we did not get through the plastic, well, though we bubbled it quite a bit. So here it looks like we're almost going to set it on fire. I need to watch it. I see these edges glowing pretty good. I have to be careful here. Okay, so we're at a minute. We're bubbling up really well. All right, minute 16. See, we're really killing that leather here. Sorry, I wasn't showing it to you. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm cooking the hell out of it right here. All right, where are we at on time? Time, we're at 1 minute and 56 seconds. See that leather really going crazy there. Okay, I think that's enough. So now we're at 2 minutes. I think that's enough. We're at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's see how the Q did. So we're going to stop it at 2:35, okay? 2:35. All right. Alright, we're going to stop it at 2:35. We're going to hang this up here. Be very careful. I don't want to get any third-degree burns out of this. Alright. So this is what we got on the case. Let's take a look. So you can see I can touch it. I can touch it here right now on both sides, but it's very hot to the touch as I come in here, so I don't think I can leave my finger on there very long. And very soft right there. So this is all, this whole area here is super soft right now. So let's see what happens. Let's see if I can even get the Q out of it. Okay, let's see what happens here and see if I can even get the Q out. Okay. Let's open it up first of all. Feel it. No temperature change up here, obviously. Okay, let's feel the Q. Q comes out with no problem. No stickiness, nothing happening. Let's see, I detect some moisture. Feels like moisture on here. So inside of the case, feels cool. Although I'm sure right at that spot down there, it's got to be warm. All right. Let's see how we did on the Q. So Q appears to be okay. Let's see if it rolls straight. Okay, let's see if it still rolls straight through the middle. Alright, well, yeah, it still rolls straight. No light, nothing coming through. There you go. So there you go, folks. Not sure what else to tell you. I hope that your case never ends up in a fire. I hope that your case never ends up looking like this or has anything like this happen to it. But if it does, I hope that it will survive as well as ours does, or better, and not hurt your queues. I mean, I don't build cases to be fireproof. I've never really tested it to be that way. I wish that there wasn't jerks in the world like Joe Van Buren who try to use tragedies to come on and put my work down. But whenever I say that my case is better than another case in some aspect, which is mainly has to do with the interior and the padding, basically I put the queue inside like this. I put the queue inside the case, and I just want to be able to turn. I just want to be able to turn it over, and the queue stays inside. That's all. You put it in either direction. I want the queue to stay there until you take it out. That's basically my whole foundation for building cases. So, I've never said that Fellini or any other brand is fundamentally worse than our case. That your queue will definitely be damaged if you use another case. That's simply not true. You could use a rubber band if you want and have no damage occur to your queue. It just depends on how careful you are. You can use a plastic bag. You can use a cloth bag. What we do is we simply wrap padding around the queue, and we put that in a plastic tube. And we think that that's a good way to protect the queue. In every field, when people want to protect their high dollar instruments, be they musical instruments or guns or whatever they are, it's always in the very best cases are considered to be form-fitting cases. Basically cases that allow little to no movement of the thing that those cases are protecting are considered to be the very best protection possible. Only in pool do we allow salesmen and other people to come to you and say, hey, you can spend $2,000 on a queue, and it's okay if your queue rattles around in the case. It's okay if it moves a lot. It's okay if your case falls on the floor and the queue bangs against all the parts. You should be more careful and not drop your case. You should be more careful when you're driving down the road and not hit a pothole. Whereas I have the opposite opinion. I feel like that the case should protect against all those things. I feel like that if you want to, where's the lid here? Here's the lid. I feel like if you want to, you should be able to get mad, go outside and throw the case around the room like that and not have to worry at all that your queue would be damaged. I think you should be able to trip and stumble and fall down the stairs, and your case goes bouncing down the stairs, and you don't have to worry that your queue was damaged at all, that anything happened to your queue. If you're driving down a country road and you hit a bunch of potholes, and your case is bouncing around in the trunk, you should not have to worry about that. That's my whole premise for building cases. I don't build cases to be fireproof, but if they are, hey, that's great. But what I do build them to be is to hold your queue nice and snug, keep it safe until you want to take your queue out. That's it. And I feel like that a little extra padding accomplishes that goal, and it puts our queue case alongside the cases in all other industries which are considered the best, which are form-fitted cases. So that's all I'm all about, and guys like Joe Van Buren, they just want to put me down. They sell a competing case that is not as well padded, so they must come up with reasons why you should buy that case, which is generally more expensive than our case, why you should buy that case over our case. And those reasons, you know, are, oh, well, John Barton's a jerk. You know, he's always putting down other case makers, which is not true. You know, I don't know if there's any other case maker out there who praises other case makers and appreciates them as much as I do. I don't know. You know, I think part of it is because these guys, they also probably don't study the other case makers like I do. I mean, you can look here on my wall over here, and you can see a bunch of cases that I've got. I've got tons of cases, and I buy them because I want to study them. Excuse me for a moment. Marvin, this is John. Can I call you back? Okay. Right. Okay, Marvin, let me call you back in 5 minutes, okay? I'm making a video. All right, bye-bye. So anyway, that was my customer. He owns 5 pool rooms. Anyway, you know, I'll finish this up real quick with this rant. Basically, it's like this. All I ever ask you to do is look at my product, look at what we build, and compare it to any other case on the market. And if you don't feel like that it gives you better value and better protection, then go buy the other guy's case. There's a lot of great case makers out there. All these cases, most of the cases out there have what I call adequate protection. You know, and our cases, I think, are just added insurance against the little things, the accidents in life that happen. You know, and if it hadn't been for a dumbass accident on my part where I knocked my case off a table and the cue shot out of it and broke, I probably never would have made cases, and I would have been totally content with what's already out there. But the way life happened, and with necessity being the mother of invention, I felt like there was a need for a better padded case on the market, and that's what I've devoted my case making career to doing. So if you look at our cases and you feel like you agree, well, we have a lot of choice for you. And if you don't, there's a lot of choice out there, and I'm positive you'll find a great case that fits your needs and you're happy with. Thanks a lot, and take care, and I'll see you guys on AZ Billiards and at some of the shows. Bye-bye.